What's going on, y'all? Just chiming in into the Blue Boy situation. I've seen a couple of pages that they had already brought out the news that apparently, allegedly, Blue Boy was on the run for an incident that happened while he was on the job. And there's a lot of things that went through my mind because I still don't know what's going on. I don't think nobody does, or it's not even out there yet what happened. But the rumor is that it happened at his place of work. And there's a lot of things you could look at it that way, because he would be 100% covered if the establishment or business will be under his name. And the weapon, of course, would be under his name also. That pretty much excludes him from facing any criminal charges in the event that somebody comes into your establishment and you are forced to protect yourself. But on another note, if you're a parole officer working for, somebody on parole, excuse me. If you're a parolee and you're working with somebody and you're not supposed to be around weapons or arms, let alone carry one at the place of work or business, an establishment where you have alcohol servings and things of that nature, you're not supposed to be around. There's a lot of loopholes to the rules and the laws of a parolee, but pretty much those are the standard rules. So when I heard the news, of course, you don't want to, nobody wants to see anybody through 39 years come home for a year and then go back for a severe penalty. Nobody wants to see anybody. I don't care who's your enemy, who you dislike. Nobody wants to see that. You know what I mean? Like, you always have a hope for somebody. You want them to win, because if they win, you win. So one of the things I looked at was the numbers. I looked them up on Inmate Lookup on Rikers Island and seen this number come up. The number looked kind of weird. I remember when I was going through the island, the numbers were pretty much categorized on the pretty much the boroughs that you came from. Like me, like I'm from the Bronx, and my number always had the 241, and then the year, and then your 4 or 5 digits or whatever. But I noticed that the numbers are pretty much different. Another thing I noticed was that they had Blue Boy in West Facility as being his current jail location. West Facility is somewhere where they would absolutely not put Blue Boy in. Somebody of that caliber, somebody of that level, they would have put him somewhere in the Beacon or HDM. If it's still open, I don't know. But being that they put him in West Facility, pretty much can be looked at as Rikers Island don't hold records, your institutional records, but for so long. But being that this man was in there in the early 80s, I doubt Rikers Island still had information pertaining to him. So that can be the reason why you're pretty much coming in to Rikers Island as a new jack or a new inmate, and you get classified like that. Because I remember me being the troubled youth that I was, kept getting locked up. My classification was always high, and the houses that I was always put in has always been of higher classification, of more aggressive and more high up crimes of individuals. Because you do get categorized. You come in new jack, they might put you in a program, but you go into these dorms, and if you're more of a veteran and a more severe crime, you get sent over to the cells. If you're 95 in the project, wherever it is that they put you, you always get classified. So chances are that Rikers Island does not hold an institutional record that long, that goes that far back, as to know the caliber of the inmate and the persona that he is. Whatever the situation is, I don't know the story, so I'm not going to elaborate on it. But I do know that it is very hard, and there's a lot of people, including some of you guys, that are looking right now at this video, that chances are you had that run where you did time and went back in less than a year. And anybody that's done time on more than one occasion can contest to that. That it is that hard. The pressure is that deep. You know, that it's crazy. You gotta be not only strong mentally, physically, spiritually, but you gotta be a person to have it all up there. Because if there's a slight screw that's loose, you're gonna end up doing something that is gonna be insane. PTSD is a thing when you first come out. It is very hard to shake that institution. Once you get a certain amount of years in, it's going to take a certain amount of years when you're on the outside for you to shake it out. At least that is my theory. And I've explained, and I've expressed this before in previous recordings, that to me, I feel that if you do 2 years in the inside, it'll take you 2 years more or less to shake it out. You know, that institutional thing that you carry yourself when you first come out. That tenseness in the shoulders, that eyebrows always up, always on the defensive, letting very little things slide. These are the things that graduate and come with you if you have the resources and the proper support and love and care. Yeah, you could shake it off. But there's always things that's going to trigger. And I say that to say this, that around Christmas time, Thanksgiving, New Year's, it is a fact that this is the time where folks lead to the most suicides, and this is the time where folks get the most heart attacks. And it's solely due to stress, the stress level. It has to do with family bond and family structures being alienated, sabotage through death, through problems. So whatever the situation is, sometimes you need a certain type of love to keep that heart functioning. And for some reason, there's a time where people experience other people being happy with their family. I mean, you can probably go on all year round without even noticing, if you don't have a family or whatever, without even noticing the joy of having a family, right? But around Christmas time, something happens. It's all in your face. It's all on TV. It's all on media. So you get grumpy. You start missing your past life, your past loved ones. It makes you sometimes do very irrational things. And I'm just speaking from experience as far as being a newly released ex-con out into the street, because we all know how that is. How, you know, there's a lot that comes with that. People think, you know, it's all smiles. You could be smiling with somebody. You could be chilling in the crowd. You could be taking your shit. But deep down, something is going to sink in. Something is not going to feel right. Something is not going to feel right. And until you have sufficient time on the outside, probably more than you did on the inside, you're not going to be able to shake that off healthy. No, but you cannot deny the fact that Blue had a lot of love out here. He got a lot of love out here, out in the street also. So it's not just like he's confined to that life, because people embraced him. They did something I haven't seen anybody do, because ageism is a thing. Once you get a certain age, you know, they have racism, they have sexism. Ageism is when people discriminate because you're old. You might have the big belly, the gray beard, and people look at you a certain type of way, like you ain't a A1, class 1 citizen. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's like you're alienated by the systems, by people, by hoods. You know what I mean? Nobody really likes to get into that. You know, this is a young world. Plain and simple, this is a young world. So when you becoming an old head, man, people look at you like you're automatically irrelevant. No matter how relevant you are to society, no matter how you keep up, how you dress, how you speak, they look at you like you're irrelevant to society. And fellas, I think it's time to hang up the phone numbers when the chicks start letting you know, yo, dude, what your old ass talking to me for? I'm too young for you. That right there is like, oh, the ultimate. Like, you gotta hang it up there. But no matter what the situation, man, when you're a parolee and you have certain things under your belt in your record, things never look good. No matter how you try to justify them, they never look good. Everything is going against you. You're better off trying to pay bail and fight the case from the outside and stay out as long as you can and somehow take the lowest plea you can, which in this situation here, once you old, you can't really afford any pleas or none of that. You can't afford no bitch. You're going to come home to nothing. You know, I mean, some people's lucky to come home to something, even if they got nobody. But it's crazy. It's a crazy situation, man. It's a crazy situation. Nobody wants to be in. I sympathize with the man 1,000%. I've been in a situation where the odds were against me, and the only jobs that I was getting was jobs that pretty much can get me into trouble in one way or another. Doesn't all have to be criminal. Doesn't have to be criminally charged in order for you to get in trouble. I mean, you could do something like ride around a delivery truck with no plates, no insurance, no nothing, and that's sure to get you in trouble, even though it's not a crime per se, even though it's a big violation and it can bring you back with a violation. You know what I mean? But that's another thing the man might have against him. Police contact. At best, he gets a parole violation. At best, he just walks off with that, with the case beat and a little parole violation, which is the police contact and, you know, the whole thing with the firearm. I really don't know the story, so I'm not going to talk about it like that. But, you know, there's always options. But in my situation, like, it's never been easy for me. You know, it has been not such a good journey when it came to challenging the criminal system. So with that being said, mi gente, man, yo, I wish the man all the luck in the world, and I hope he get through this one way or another. And I see the haters out there. I know dudes is happy he's back in and all of that, but you guys got to remember one thing. Wherever Blue is at is home, bro. Peace.